Does your home still kind of looks cheap even after you've spent so much money on it? It is probably not the big stuff, it is most likely the little details that everyone forgets. And I work in construction, so I can tell you straight away what those details are so you know what to look out for.
This is one of my biggest eggs in the cheap build, but most people don't even realize it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you all the small details that makes a home looks cheap even when it is brand new or even after you've spent so much money on the renovation. And I will also tell you what's actually worth upgrading. I am thinking about to make a series about this topic, so stay tuned for my other videos and subscribe if you haven't and if you don't want to miss out. Without further ado, let's get started with the exhaust fan, my biggest egg. Let's go. First, bathroom exhaust fans. I've got the 3-in-1 here, so it's not as bad, but I'm going to show you something that's actually bad. Come here. Look at that. You walk into a nice bathroom with nice tiles, nice tapware, but you got this little plastic vent that's stuck on the ceiling. Once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. So why does it happen? The reason why this happens is pretty simple, and let me tell you what happened on site. So on site, the exhaust isn't usually planned early, and it's one of those things that everyone forgets until the last minute. So it becomes, we need to cover the duct. And the easiest and the cheapest option would be the plastic vent. That is how you get a nice bathroom with a plastic vent sitting in the middle of the room, because nobody remembers it. The better way to approach bathroom exhaust fans would be planned early. If you design it with intention before the construction, you can absolutely integrate it into the ceiling or joinery with a flush vent or a slot diffusers. And my very honest opinion, this is really not about the budget, it's about the planning. Because I have definitely seen plastic vents everywhere in $1 million home. Next, light switches and power point. People completely overlook these, but they're at eye level and you touch them every day, so they do matter. As someone who has worked in architecture, I need to be very honest with you. Light switches and power points location are really not the first priority when it comes to finishing my drawing sets. Completing my floor plans, figuring out the form of the building or even the overall layout of the house, or even joinery, it's more important than the location of the power points and the quantity of the light switches. It's not like we don't do it, but it's just not the most important things when it comes to doing my drawings. As a client, if you don't ask for anything specific, most likely you're gonna get the standard pack, 4 downlights and 1 light switch in the bedroom. Let's see what we get in my bedroom. Okay. All right, let's see here, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got a vent in the middle. That's very standard. And let's see how many light switches. Yes, I only have 1. Can we see? We only have 1 here. Woohoo! Okay, let's see how many power points we have. I know I have 1 here, down here. I only have 1, never mind. Okay, I only have 1 power point. All right, let's come back to... That's funny because I actually didn't expect, or I wasn't really counting that I only have 1 power point in my bedroom. I've lived in a lot of places, and honestly, a lot of bedrooms, they only have 1 power point, 1 light switch and 4 downlights. That's standard. And when I need to charge my iPad, my laptop, my phone, and or my camera, all of a sudden, I got all the cables running around in my room, and it's just not very nice, I guess. I'm gonna give you a relatable example that you can probably understand why light switches and power points are actually important and how it can change the way you live. So, in a hotel room, you usually get a light switch next to your bed. And what's the purpose of it? It is for you to relax in bed, chill, and when you're ready to sleep, you switch it off. And you don't need to get up and turn off any lights, right? Imagine you have that in your master bedroom. It sounds fancy, but it's actually not. And I'm sure once you have it, you can't really go back. And this is the key. These things needs to be thought early on, because once the wiring is done, the wall is up, adding a switch later on becomes expensive. However, if you do it when they're doing wiring, most likely you wouldn't need to pay extra. Apart from the quantities and the location of the light switches and power points, the next thing would be the switches style itself. And this is the last thing about light switches. You can have really nice timber flooring, carpet, stone, or tile finishes, but you have the standard plastic shiny switches on the wall. It really does give it away straight away. The funny thing is, you don't need anything crazy here. Sometimes, or a lot of the time, a more refined switches that look completely different are within the same price range as the standard plastic switches. And honestly, if you change to a more refined switches, it makes the whole space look way more considered. Next, silicone work. If you don't know what it is, it's basically the flexible seals you see in all the corners or gaps, like any gaps, such as where your tiles meet other materials, or in the sink, or in the shower, or even along the edges of the vanity. They're there to seal gaps or stop water from getting in. This is one of those details that can instantly tell me how good the build quality is. Most people don't notice it, but once you start noticing it, you'll see them everywhere. Bad silicone work, they will show you uneven lines come here, thick blobs in the silicone work, or they might even get moldy on side already. By the way, these one actually, they did a pretty good job. So let's just stop with them. Next, tile layout. This is a big one. It's the same as the silicone work. It's not really about the materials, it's about the workmanship. I can't really show you an example at home right now because all the tiles I have is 600 by 600 very standard tiles, and most trading would not screw that up because it's the most standard tiling work. However, if you're using mosaic tile, or if you're using tiles that come with a pattern, or if you have a feature wall that has a cutout or like a recessed shelf on the wall, then you need to be careful. You might see some kind of funny tile layout if you don't talk to the tradie before they put the tile up. And the funny thing is, these tiles like mosaic, KitKat, or some custom-made tiles, they're more expensive and they might have longer lead time as well if you order them in like Europe or other countries. So you don't want them to screw up anything. So what you can do as a client is that when you go to site or before they do the tiling work, you just have to talk to them about where you're going to set out the tile, how you're going to do your floorways, like how you're going to do the tile around the floorways if you're using tile for your floor. Or like just to make sure they know that, okay, there's a cutout on the wall, so make sure everything aligns. You can talk to your builder about it, even though it sounds stupid or it sounds like you're such a Karen, but just trust me on that. That's all you can do as a client, because people who stick the towel on isn't really the builder himself. So the builder might understand, but the worker might not understand. Oh my god, I feel like I'm offending a lot of people, but sometimes it just happens, you know, like on site, like you just see all these problems, and I feel like as a client, what you can do is just make sure everyone is on the same page. I don't want to offend more people, so I'm gonna stop here. The biggest misconception people have when it comes to renovating or having a nice looking home is thinking you just need to spend more money. However, after watching my video, I hope you can understand that money might not always be the case. It is really about planning ahead or being intentional about your design choices, and these small details do change the way how you experience the house every day. And I've got a lot more of these tips and details to share, so stick around for the next video if you want your home to look a bit more high-end without wasting your budget. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!